Man, we got some controversy going on around here online. Cheryl Miller, the well decorated athlete and Hall of Famer, sat down with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, Stack 5, on All the Smoke podcast. And she said some very interesting things. But we're going to talk about that all here next on the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. Well, Cheryl Miller, the well-decorated athlete, Olympic gold medalist, also Hall of Famer, is going viral for the things she said in a recent sit-down interview on the podcast All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, aka Stack 5. Cheryl Miller had a chance to coach the WNBA rookie all-stars, and she was excited about that job, and she got up and close and personal with the likes of some of the rookies like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Now, we all know what Cheryl Miller brings to the table as a basketball player. She knows the X's and O's about basketball. Even when she took over the coaching job to coach the young ladies such as Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark said she was probably one of the best coaches she's ever been around. And I produced a video stating that when Caitlin Clark made that gesture, she was taking a shot at Christy Sides, because we all know what the Indiana Fever was doing leading up to the All-Star break and the Olympic break. They was not playing great basketball. Everybody wanted Christy Sides fired. And for Caitlin Clark to make them statements that Cheryl Miller was the best coach she'd been around when she coached her in the All-Star game spoke volumes. Also, Cheryl Miller also came out and said that she was excited to coach the stars like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. But she went on this podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, aka Stack 5. And she said some things that got a lot of people scratching their heads and got a lot of people trying to figure out what Cheryl Miller is talking about. Because in one sense, she started off when Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson asked her a question about Caitlin Clark. I thought that little piece, she was giving Caitlin Clark her just dues. But then this is where we get a little slicey and dicey about what she was saying. And for her to utter the words, I can relate to this young lady as a black woman. So when you're saying things like that, basically that's telling me that you're insinuating Angel Reese. But that's not how people are interpreting that. They're interpreting that the whole segment out of the hour-long podcast and out of the probably about 1 minute to 2 minutes that they talked about Caitlin Clark, she ran her whole dialogue together. And it seemed like that interview had some missing pieces, and it's kind of confusing. And what I'm getting out of this is when she was talking about relatable, that only could be in reference to Angel Reese because she's speaking from a Black woman's perspective. But then she says some things about Caitlin Clark where it gets kind of congested, where I really don't even know what Cheryl Miller was talking about. I really don't know what she was talking about. She said some things, and then she ran her whole soliloquy together where she mixed in the narrative about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark not getting along, but she saw up close in person and firsthand how their chemistry was and how they played well together, how they was in practice, how Caitlin Clark was telling Angel to get on the fly, I'll get the ball. For her to utter the words that she said about Caitlin Clark being the most hated, I'm kind of confused, and I need you guys to help me out. But we're gonna play the little segment that Cheryl Miller had to say when she sat down with Matt Barnes and Stack 5 on All the Smoke. But before we get off into that, right now, I'm at 13,864 subscribers. I'm on my way to 14,000. With the support and the love that y'all guys have been showing me, we'll get there in a matter of time. So for the people that are just now coming across this video, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. So now let's get off into what Cheryl Miller had to say, and then we'll come back and we'll continue the show.
You coached the WNBA All-Star game. You spent some time with Caitlin Clark.
Best coaching job ever.
Best coaching job
Best
ever.
coaching job ever.
Being around Caitlin Clark, how was the experience for her? She's such a big star. I mean, the sky's the limit for her. To be around her, just talk about the type of person she is and how much she loves the game.
I'm going to be honest because it needs to be said. I can relate to that young lady, and I felt for her.
This is where I'm confused.
I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a Black woman and hated because of my
skin.
Color.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this young lady, I don't want to use hate, but despised. And people just having, she brought some on herself a little bit because she's cocky for a good reason.
Confident.
And I love that about her. But to watch the dynamics and the media, they had their narrative. And I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't the truth.
Right.
And Angel and her got along so well.
See, this
and
is where I'm
watching them
confused.
practice. And yeah, just get it. And Caitlin's like, just fly. And watching her pass. And I didn't know how talented she was and how well she sees the game in a 3D version, thinker. Defensively, a lot better than I thought and gave her credit for. So watching her and just spending a little time. And one thing, guys, that I've learned is to step back and let these kids be themselves. Look, I speak when I'm spoken to.
Now you heard what, Cheryl Miller had to say. I'm kind of still confused on this whole thing that she's saying, because she said, as a Black woman being hated on, I can rationalize with you. I felt that. So I'm confused on, was she talking about Caitlin Clark or was she talking about Angel Reese? She said she can relate to that, because if you listen to how she said the whole thing, it's some missing pieces there somewhere, because she runs right off into the narrative about these two not getting along with each other. And she said that she saw it firsthand that they work well together. So the whole soliloquy that she said, she ran it together. So there's some missing parts there. I'm still confused. And this has led a lot of controversy online, and people are running saying that Caitlin Clark is the most hated. Come on, guys. That's a delusional take. Caitlin Clark has never been hated on the way Angel Reese has been hated on. I don't see that. And anybody in their right mind to sit here and think that Caitlin Clark is being hated on the way Angel Reese is being hated on is just downright delusional. She gave Caitlin Clark her praises from what she saw up close and in person. But for her to say that she can relate to this young lady as a black woman. So when you say as a black woman, Caitlin Clark is Caucasian. Cheryl Miller is black. Angel Reese is black. So I'm kind of lost in the transcript somewhere. The pieces don't add up. I'm still befuddled on what Cheryl Miller was saying. There is some missing content there. Something had to be edited out because her soliloquy ran straight together. And I'm missing something because if you guys go back and listen, it ran in from, as a black woman, I can relate to what she's going through. And then firsthand about the narrative about Angel and Caitlin not getting along. And she said she glad that that narrative was false. Then she said as kids. So she's not talking directly about Caitlin Clark. Something is missing in the transcript, man. I need help. Something is missing in the transcript because this interview has led to a lot of controversy and a heated discussion online and a heated debate. Cheryl, you have to clear this up. There's something missing. We need answers. There's something missing. Because now people are going to the internet saying that you just said that Caitlin Clark was the most hated and she's proven everybody wrong in the WNBA. So people think just because Cheryl Miller came out and said what she said, she's 100% correct. So where are the people saying that if she was talking about Caitlin Clark, she's slighting Angel Reese? Ain't that what y'all did when Cheryl Swoop said her things about Angel Reese? You said that she was slighting Caitlin Clark? So what's the difference between Cheryl Miller and Cheryl Swoops? They both well-decorated athletes. They both Hall of Famers. So just because Cheryl Miller said it, it's golden. But if Cheryl Swoops say it, she's hating on Caitlin Clark. So I'm trying to figure out and decipher what Cheryl Miller is really talking about because I'm lost. So guys in the chat, man, help me out, man. Help me out. Because this is she kind of like played defense. Like she's leaving it up to us to interpret where she was coming from. Because the question started off about Caitlin Clark. But if you just listen to how quick she said what she had to say and translated right into the narrative about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark not getting along. And she's glad that she saw it up close in person and they put that narrative to bed. So guys, I see everybody in the comment section, #salute. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger, and we're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.